Welcome to the Real Estate Equation. I'm Ian here with I Am Home Inspections. I'm here with my lovely co-host.
I'm Liz Buchman with Guild Mortgage, the Buchman team.
Here's my good friend Armando Oliva, the Realty Professor. You're a broker, you're a real estate agent, and you teach real estate classes.
Correct.
So you do everything. So we're all very into education here. Liz, you're a professor.
Yes, I am. I teach real estate finance and brokering at Mount Sac.
Great, and I like teaching to people who are motivated, and you actually teach classes to people who want to get their real estate license and or their broker's license. So as a busy agent, very successful agent, what led you to teaching?
Well, as a broker, recruitment's a big part of your business, right? You got to recruit new agents to come work for you. And the best way to recruit them is when you license them, they're more eager to join you at the office. So about 15 years ago, I started the Realty Academy where I help people get their license, and then they spend a lot of time with me. As you know, it's in-person training. And then when they graduate, they're like, why don't I work with you? So it's kind of a built-in recruitment tool, as well as, staying on top of the industry for me, because I get all these new agents and they push marketing techniques and they have excitement and energy. So that's kind of what led me to it.
Nice. I know a lot of agents who are grateful to you who only got their license because you helped them get their license.
Thank you.
So how do you balance your time between being an agent and a broker and then a teacher?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't understand his business well, but I feel like there's plenty of time because most people are not wanting to look at homes at 1 o'clock on a Monday. So most of our real estate time is concentrated on weekends. It's concentrated. So I just schedule my schooling, during the week and then my retail real estate business on weekends. It seems to have worked all right for the last 20 years.
No. Good. So, I'm going to ask you the same question, but I'll ask you first as an agent. As an agent, have you changed anything about your business with the upcoming NAR settlement?
Not really. I try to go after listings, right? Because buyers tend to take up more time, and I don't really like the buyer side of it because you got to drive, you may not ever get paid, and I like the listing side, so most of my energy is concentrated towards listings. Not to say I don't work with clients because I have friends and I'm selling their home and they want to buy something, but I really more go after listings than really buyers.
Well, you call me enough, so I know you're still working with a lot of buyers.
Well, a lot of my team are newer agents, and newer agents tend to first attract buyers before they get the confidence to get listings. And again, because we're a team and I like certain professionals like you, I say, hey, we're using Ian because I feel comfortable with his company and his quality. So you get an exorbitant amount of referrals from me because of that, because I have so many new agents. They mostly work with buyers in the beginning, and we like you, so we use your company.
Thank you. So now as the realty professor, as a teacher, how do you think the NAR settlement is going to affect your teaching business and practice?
Honestly, I haven't seen anything up to this point because most people want to get into this business aspirationally, right? They dream of having financial freedom, of having freedom of time. They watch these shows, selling sunset $1 million listings. So there's quite a aspirational component of getting your real estate license. And again, it's not like you're becoming a lawyer, right? In 60 days, you can meet all your requirements and take the state exam shortly thereafter and have this Willy Wonka ticket that at worst, you save 30 grand when you buy a home. At best, your brother buys, your sister buys, your friend of a friend, and you make an extra 50, 60, 80, 90 grand a year by just having a network. So it's really a low cost business to start that has an unlimited upside. So most people, it doesn't deter them. If anything, with economic woes, they're like, why wouldn't I have another tool to maybe make some additional income that is interesting? Who doesn't want to know about real estate? Who doesn't want to be able to have a real estate license? So I find that because our business is an aspirational type business, most people are like, I think I'd like that. And if anything, I'm getting younger and younger people that are skipping college and saying, why do I want to spend 80 grand to just be a salesperson? Like, have you ever gone to a college recruitment seminar? Like, I go to it because I teach at Cal State Northridge sometimes and other things. So I go to their career expo. it's all sales companies that are hiring, like State Farm, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, like Roger James stockbrokering. So all the jobs that they're afforded with graduating with a normal degree are sales jobs anyway. Only they already invested 80 grand in 4 years, or they could just spend a few $100s and get a real estate license and sell 2 houses and make 60 grand. So I think the math works for this industry, and it's a low risk investment. Like, what are you really wasting? You're learning about real estate. You're spending a few $100s in a few weeks' time, and you have this Willy Wonka ticket. Like, how is that a bad thing?
Lovely. All right, so we're gonna get into the Willy Wonka aspect here. What, in your experience, what are the most common challenges new agents face after getting their license, and how do you address that as a teacher?
The most common things people face when they get their license are what everybody faces when starting a business. You have to start a business. And I find that most people are just so woefully not equipped to launch any type of business. So it's not that they're having trouble because it's real estate. They're having trouble because if you're launching a construction business, they probably wouldn't do well. They were launching an insurance business, they wouldn't do well. It's when you learn that, oh, wait a minute, I offered these services, I have to communicate this offering to other people, and I'm going to do that through marketing, I'm going to do that through brand building, I'm going to do that by being of value. And once you learn that, you tend to start doing better. But it's challenging in the beginning because it's challenging to start any business, especially if you don't accept that you're starting a business and you're a marketer in the beginning. And that's probably the biggest obstacle. Most people think that somehow magically people are going to call them and have them represent them in a sale, in a purchase, when very rarely does that happen. You have to social media yourself. You have to do advertising, marketing, shake hands, kiss babies. And that's what every entrepreneur has to do in every business. And that's why most businesses have a low success rate, because most people don't understand that component. They think getting the license, getting the contractor license, starting the Menchies, whatever it is, that's the end game. No, that's barely the ship. Now you need the gasoline to make it go, and that's the marketing. So I find that people that are entrepreneurial, they tend to understand that right from the bat. Whether you're getting into mortgage business or whatever you're getting into, you need marketing to get leads, so then you can deliver your service, whether it's mortgage service, real estate service, home inspections. Look at you. You do a ton of marketing, right? So if someone was going to start the home inspection business and they thought they were just going to get a business card and people were going to call them for home inspections, they're sadly mistaken, right? So that's why most people, it has nothing to do with why do most real estate agents fail? Why do most people starting any business fail? Because they don't have the skill set or the tenacity to keep going and establish a marketing, a value proposition, and a strategy for customer acquisition. That's why. What do I do in my school? I try to educate them on that so that they think of themselves as a business. So they think of themselves that, yeah, I should probably communicate my value proposition in marketing and social media. I should probably be popular, right? In quotations, meaning people like to talk to me, they like to be around me, they like to listen to me, those type of things. And the agents that understand that, like any business owner, they tend to do way better.
I have some follow-up questions as I
Sure.
was taking some notes. What is your why? Why do you do what you do? Why do you have the Realty Academy? Why did you become a realtor? What motivates you?
Well, I sold my first company. I owned a medical training company, actually here in San Fernando Valley. I sold that, and I was on a 1-year earnout, meaning I had to transition the company for 1 year in order to get my payout. And in the meantime, my CPA said, you should buy more real estate because you need to depreciate that asset. You need to have rental income, because I just got a big lump sum check and I was getting a bigger lump sum check. And I didn't understand real estate as an asset with depreciation and different things. So I was like, okay. So there was actually a real estate office underneath me. I was on the second floor of the roof. So I just went downstairs and I said, hey, can someone help me buy a couple rental properties? And they were like, yes. And they jumped on me, and as one guy was taking me around, he didn't know anything. Like, I would say, what do you think I could rent this for? Like, how do I do a lease agreement? I didn't understand the details, and he didn't know anything. And I was like, I thought you needed a degree or something to be in real estate. And so I Googled it. I'm like, you just take a test? No wonder these people don't know anything. So I was like, maybe I should get my license, and then I can get into houses and I don't need him, right? So that's what led me. And then 3 months into my 1-year earnout, the guy placed management in the company, and I would get there like at 7 a.m. because a lot of our contracts were at hospitals and different things. I was like, hey, let's go to Kaiser and see what's going on. They'd be like, listen, just relax in your office. Don't tell us what to do. So I was like, so finally they said, here's the rest of your money. We don't need you managing us. So then I was like, well, okay, well, I guess, I should dive full into real estate now. So I dove full into real estate, and then quickly, every time I would hit an obstacle, I would think, like, back then I started in around 2000, things were starting to go up quickly.
Yep.
And then even though everyone said, oh, you could get a loan by just breathing, no, you still had to know how to fill out a 1003. You still had to figure out
Stop right there.
documentation.
1003 was all you needed in 2000.
and different things.
Fogomir loans were the hit.
and I know a lot of people say that, but there's still some materials, even if like agents had to get creative with stated income and different things. And so I was like, you know what, why don't we just bring that in-house? So I started mortgage brokering for Countrywide. And then all of a sudden, my clients would go, hey, escrow closes so early. I'm driving from the west side. And I'm like, why does escrow close so early? Why do they close at 5 and not work weekends when we work 7 days a week? You work 7 days a week. Why do they get to work these beautiful banking hours? I was like, I'll start my own escrow company. So I bought a DOC license. I started my escrow company. So kind of it was just a matter of transitioning from being in this medical training business to real estate. And then I just kept adding on. And then when the market started transitioning, that's when I thought, I should probably get more into the training component so I can recruit more agents and then have a bigger team. So that's kind of how one thing led to the other. And then I started liking it. I enjoyed the creativity and the deal chasing, and I still do. Like, I think I've sold 500 homes. Like, I still I'm a deal junkie and enjoy. I just had a closing on Friday, and I was like, yeah, and it's like, so it's a good hit. And most agents love that feeling. Like, they love hunting, killing, and then repeating. And they're really, because most top agents are entrepreneurs. That they just happen to highlight their entrepreneurship in real estate or in mortgage, but really they're entrepreneurs. They've just chosen this service of real estate or mortgage brokering as their venue, but they would be good at any business because what they use to be successful, they would use in any business. So I find most of my friends, we really talk business. We don't really talk specifically real estate or specifically mortgage. We talk business, and that's why I've grown to really love this business, because you get some amazing entrepreneurs, and it's really you hunt what you eat, right? And it's kind of exciting, and like most of my friends, I really appreciate them, and I feel like, gosh, they're killing it, and it motivates me to do more, and so it's a great business. And again, you can throttle it as much as you want or as little as you want. You want to sell 1 home a year, great. You want to sell 30 homes a year, great. It's a great business that you can throttle, and it never ends, because the idea of home ownership is ongoing. I don't know anyone said, no, I don't want a home.
Lately, yes, I've heard I don't want a home because of interest rates. For the first time in my career, I heard it twice in the last 6 weeks. Forget it, I don't want to buy it. But that's just a very, pick it apart, a very, 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 how do you say, individual experience. But for the most part, yeah, I believe I hear the passion in your voice. I hear the passion of why you are continually in the business, and I totally get it. So what would you tell a listing agent today in regards to the NAR settlement? The folks that you train, and I'm sure you have a quite a long list of folks that you've brought up, and very successful listing agents. What do you tell a listing agent when it comes to the listing agreement and all the new NAR forms?
I go, fantastic. We're in a way better situation, because normally you're trying to convince a seller to pay you 6.5%, 7%, 5%, because you're going to have to split that with a buyer agent. Now you're saying, guess what? I can do it for 3.5%. And a buyer is going to actually have an agent. They may ask you for commission. They may not. They may get paid directly from their client. They may not. So all I'm asking you for is 3.5. So now it's a much more compelling listing presentation because you're like, hey, my services are just 3.5%, and this is everything I do, and I'd love to get started, as opposed to, it's 6.5 because, I may split that with someone else. So number one, I think if you're a listing agent, it's amazing, and I'm telling listing agents, don't lower it. Still charge 5. Still charge 5. And if you need to lower it to make the deal happen, well, why don't you just ask for 5? Because the odds are you may end up having to double work anyway, because a buyer may call you direct and say, oh, I don't understand these changes. Can I just work with you? And you're like, sure. And now you're still at 5%.
Yeah.
So if anything, I think this is a golden opportunity for listing agents to continue to dominate and do well. And I say, great. Either you can ask for less, which is more appealing to a seller, or stick to your normal pricing and make more.
Yeah.
So perfect.
I would agree with that. I think 5% across the board from being, I review contracts as they're fully executed. So a lot of times 5% was the standard, 2.5 each way, or 2 and 3, very rarely do I see anything less than 5. And very rarely do I ever see 6%, especially in the markets. Now, I deal a lot with first-time home buyers who have limited funds with, down payment and closing costs. And so this has been a lot of a conversation that it starts with that listing presentation. So it's good to hear where you come and what your stance is, and it truly believes that conversation starts with the listing agent and how they present the agreement. So very cool.
So for everybody who's listening, who's now fired up and wants to get their real estate license, briefly explain the process from what do they need to do before they call you, what happens once they call you, how do they get from I'm just sitting on my couch watching this video to now I want to get my license.
Sure. I think a lot of people are surprised how easy it is to get, Number one, you just have to be 18 or older. So hopefully, God took care of that. You're 18 or older. Then you got to complete 3 prerequisite courses. And it's really simple. It's like 300 question multiple choice tests. Some people take it in university. Some people take it in private schools like mine. It's a very simple test. In fact, you have your open book, your open notes. You take it online. So you complete those 3 certificates, courses, whatever school you go to, and then you formally apply, because at the end of the day, it is a professional license from the state of California. So you do have to apply to the state, and they are like the DMV, so they take a little time to process things. And then once they tell you, okay, we got your application, you completed 3 prerequisite classes. You also did your fingerprints. You might have heard of this called live scan, where they run your background. You haven't robbed the bank or anything.
Which you do at your office.
We also have a business running the fingerprints called Easy Live Scan. And then they say, great, you're all set. Schedule the state exam whenever you want. That's it. Once you pass that state exam, it's #RealtorLife. Now, what you need to do to pass that state exam, it's 150 questions, multiple choice. You're not taking the bar. It's 150 question, multiple choice, and you're going to pass with a 70% or a C. That's it. And again, my school prepares you for that. We do a crash course. We give you flashcards. We train thousands of people. So we're pretty comfortable with knowing what you need to learn for the state exam. And most people can get the process done in as little as 4 months, on average about 6 months.
Great. So if you're out there, you want to get your real estate license, call Ramondo. All right, last question. In what ways do you see the real estate industry evolving in the next 5 to 10 years, and how should agents prepare themselves for these changes?
Well, I think it's evolving in that the consumer is way more educated, right? 20 years ago, they really needed the agent just for data, right? They're like, oh, could you tell me what's on the market? Could you tell me what's available? Now they know it before I know it. They're like, my clients are sending me like the Zillow and Redfin listing, like, hey, can we go see this? So really, if you shaped your business as being a data provider, you're probably gonna have to reshape it as really being a service provider. And what does that mean? Well, that means kind of being what I consider a concierge. So your client has questions on, hey, what's a good paint color to paint my house? Well, here's the color I would use. Hey, do you know someone who can do this? Yeah, I have a list of contractors, electricians, and stuff. I think you need to shape your business now as a comprehensive source of knowledge, so that you're in constant contact with consumers. And then when the opportunity percolates up, like they need to sell, they need to buy, their sister needs to sell, their child needs to buy, you're right in the center of being the expert of giving information. Because I find if you're that source in your network, whatever industry you're in, if you're the one everyone calls for questions about anything, you're probably doing well. You're probably doing well. If no one calls you to ask you about anything, that's probably going to reflect in your business. So if you can position yourself as being a helpful authority, provider of information, someone asks you like, hey, we're thinking of selling in a couple years and we're painting, what do you think we should paint? You go down to Sherwin-Williams, you spend $5 on a couple of color samples. You ask them what the most popular colors are, and you give it to your client. You go, hey, listen, why don't we put these on the wall? They told me these are the 2 most popular ones. If you're always going a little bit above and beyond, then if they ask you, hey, what should we have a front yard? Yeah, houses with yards tend to sell better than one with old dirt. So if you're just always giving great information, going out of your way, you're going to have these strong relationship ties with people. And then when they think of buying or selling, you're probably going to be at the top of the list. And then you just need to support that with constant in-your-face marketing. Now that's where we get to the cheesy realtor stuff. Here's a pumpkin pie recipe. Here's a flag on 4th of July. Here's a bee recipe or whatever. And that's when that works. If it's supporting your relationships that you're constantly building. And, that old saying, your network is your net worth. So get that network as big as possible and be of value. Be where people are like, oh my God, that guy's so helpful. That woman's so helpful. They're always answering my questions, always giving me great advice. Even if it has nothing to do with real estate. They're telling me, oh, you know what you should do? You should get your TSA fast pass so you don't have to wait at the airport. How do I do that? Oh, you can go to the Staples in Van Nuys. This is the form. If you're always helping, then they're going to call you. It's just the way it works.
You become a source of knowledge for
you
them.
become a source of knowledge, and
Yep.
and you hear that in these podcasts every single day. So it's almost like nauseating. Like, just be of value. Yeah, perfect. There you go.
But people don't know how, though. It's making them step outside their comfort zone, right? With possibly. You have 2 different types of people, right? You've got introverted people, you've got extroverted people. And so when you have extroverted people, that comes naturally. We're all extroverted sitting here, sharing information and, being on camera as well as, talking to each other and providing value to others. And then you have the introverted folks that, just like contracts or paperwork, maybe they're more suited for a transaction coordinator, or property management. But there's, I think, a room on the bus for everybody. And there's a book I love called Good to Great, which talks about there's a space on the bus for everyone, but you got to be seated in the right spot in order to be successful. So I think you're definitely seated in the right spot. You've been very successful in your company and what you're doing. And for the next 5 years, do you see yourself doing the same thing or retiring on an island somewhere?
Well, that's the beauty of real estate. Realtors don't retire. They just die. So at 95, they put their open house sign and Bertha sells one last condo in Santa Monica. So I hope I go out in a blaze of glory. One last escrow at 97 before I keel over.
Cool.
All right, so how do people out there contact you?
They can just go to our website, therealtyacademy.com, or my Instagram, The Realty Professor, or just Google it. If you're in San Fernando Valley, just Google real estate classes. I'm the #1 person that pops up.
Nice.
The Realty Academy, and if I can be of any help, or I also have a YouTube channel, Armando Oliva. Just Google my name or put it on YouTube. Even if you don't want to come to school, I have a lot of free videos that might help you pass the state exam. Or just text me or DM me. I love talking shop. So if you're like, hey, I have a question on the industry or something, that's what I do. Let's talk.
All right. Well, you do have a great school.
Awesome.
I've been there. All right. So this has been the Real Estate Equation. I'm Ian Mayer with I Am Home Inspections. Inspections that matter for people who care. 818-298-3405.
Awesome. Thanks, Ian.
And I'm Liz Buchman with the Buchman team at Guild Mortgage. Service is the difference. You can reach me at 818-405-0809. That is my local 818 number now.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
All right. Like and subscribe.